What are you at, boys? Hello. How you doing? Welcome to Tales with TR. I'm your host, Terry Ryan Jr. Good to be with you. Coming at you from beautiful Sudbury, Ontario. Again, of course, on a rare day off. I have nothing, well, I had lots to do, but we have a day off of Shoresy related work. And I don't have a guest. I apologize for that. I was going to wait to do this maybe tomorrow, maybe wait on a guest, whatever it is. I do next week. This week was real hectic. Yeah, I can't really give much away with the plot or anything, but there's just certain weeks it was the most fun I've had on set, but like as far as long hours and stuff. So I wasn't going to sneak a podcast in the middle of the day because you don't know how long these scenes are going to be. I generally you go on a film set, you go in the morning, you come out 12, I guess, usually hours later. Lots of times more than that, sometimes less than that. But even if I've only got, I don't know, if I'm not in every scene, I still don't really know when they're going to be. There's all kinds of different, you get different angles on scenes. And then, the weather might change. You got your trailer there, which doesn't usually have Wi Fi. It's just a bit of a nuisance to hook it up and then schedule someone. And, then wardrobe comes in your trailer, maybe has some different wardrobe for you. You got to rehearse lines. There's context to it all. So it's just really, really hard to go, hey, I might be off, Jeremy Roenick, at 4 o'clock on Wednesday, just in case. Do you mind hanging by the phone? If I'm not, just wait for me. Right. And I got too much respect for each and every guest to do that to them. And you guys as an audience, because the guests would be pissed off. And look, just like I said, I'm not religious, but I believe in that positive vibe, karma. I mean, maybe I am spiritual. I really don't fucking know. Probably the closest to like the Buddhist thing. Or mantra, whatever you call it, point of view, worldview. Everything's connected. Just be good people. Like I said, I don't get religion specific, but I just think what goes around comes around. Spread positive vibes. Same sort of thing. I don't want to act like a fucking dick when I'm hosting this show. I want people to come on comfortable. I don't like it. And if they say something, it's happened. And it rarely happens, but it does happen. They might call back and go, listen, T-Bone, maybe can you take that out? I think it'll be taken out of context every single time. I'm not doing this to get cheap likes on the internet, like some people do. To each their own, So, and a lot of people like that. I just don't want to be doing that. I don't want to associate myself with it. I want everybody else to be completely comfortable. So when I get in situations like this, I try to think of stories or like top 5 or songs or whatever it might be. As you might know, there's never really, maybe there should be a plan. Times like this, maybe give my top 5 movies or songs or albums from a certain year, maybe. And maybe I will. I'm spitballing here, but that kind of makes sense. But what I'm going to do today, a lot of you have asked me a question. Okay. Now I'm going to tell you the question at the end of the story, because I think if I say it at the beginning of the story, it might give away some of it. And before any of it starts, I want to tell you about my friend, Todd Classen. Some people say Classen, some people say Classen, Klassen. There's different spellings of that throughout Canada, North America. I have a friend, Sean Clausen. He says, I think it's Clausen. They say Classen, but it's Claus, I believe. In any case, this is Todd Classen. Now, Todd, great hockey player. Okay. When I was in Tri-Cities, I was, like I said, in the Western League. I've mentioned it on here before. The draft's real young. You're 14 years old. So a lot of you guys that listen to this know that I moved out west at 14 to play junior, which was a wild experience. And about, the hot sauce I put hot sauce on my hands to win my first fight. I lost my virginity that very night. I was 14, man, just stick handling through life with a bunch of older players playing junior. It was a wild experience. I did it because I wanted to make the NHL essentially, and I did it because I thought the WHL, I moved out west, and my father was an experienced pro hockey player. So, I took he didn't force me, but I took his advice. I wanted to play more than anything. I loved my home of Mount Pearl, Newfoundland, and I still do, or I wouldn't live there. And I live in the neighborhood I grew up in a not very flashy house. I'm not that way. I love things the way I like them. I do enjoy trying new things, But as far as living arrangements, I have no problem. I love where I grew up. It gives me great memories. Like I said, my daughter is there. I know that she's happy and safe and with people that love her. And her mom moved back home now, so we're all together. I mean, Danielle and I aren't together, but we're together. It means a lot for her mom to be there, and she gets to see her parents or her grandparents and relatives in Alberta once in a while. We have a nice arrangement. I love, like I said, my hometown of Mount Pearl, Newfoundland, and it killed me. It killed me to move away at that young age, but I did it. And I went out and I had to wait because the draft, I believe, was like really early in the new year, maybe January 2nd or 3rd. I remember it was like, not like, it was before I moved out there at 14. It was before I turned 15. I found out I was a Tri-City American. But you can't play in the WHL till you're 16. There are exceptions. And of course, I believe they allowed me to play at least 2, maybe 3 games as a 15-year-old. And you had, it was because they'd already drafted me, like I said, at 14. So they draft me. I'm really rambling there. I'm sorry about that. This would have been 91, 92, 14 years old. They draft me in January, but it's not like I can play. But what Tri-City would do would fly me down, and I'd like practice. If the team, say, Quesnel's about, I don't know, 4 or 5, I'm spitballing, hours guessing, from Kamloops north. And, quite a ways from Victoria, but it's in BC, and I remember driving down. But anyway, what they would do when they played in Kamloops, say Victoria, even at home sometimes, I went down to Tri-City more than once. I'd fly down, practice with the team, knowing I couldn't play, but I'd be able to play in a couple of years. Same thing at 15. The next year, you're right, you get drafted at 14, 15, I still can't play in the dub yet. Like I said, those 2 or 3 games I played, but I still had to go somewhere. I went to Quesnel, started the year in Vernon, actually, and long story, but I left. And I finished the year again in Quesnel. Had an awesome time once again with my friends. Would have loved to be in Mount Pearl, but that ship had sailed. Now I got 2 years in me in Quesnel. I led the team in scoring, like I said, 200 minutes my first year. I'm confident on the ice. I'm 15 now. I'm second-year Bantam, but I'm playing junior, and I'm a veteran. I'm assistant captain of the Millionaires, and I lead the scoring again. I'm really, really confident. One of the reasons I had that confidence is because when Tri-City would bring me down, they would have me stay with Todd. A guy named Todd Classen, like I said. And again, at 15, a full year, like a full fucking year went by and I still couldn't play. So I would be flying down, I would be practicing, I would be staying with Todd when they went on the road and stuff. So let's just say they went to Kamloops and they're playing and I drive down with my dad. The team would rather me practice and then go stay with somebody on the team. It was usually Todd. I didn't really have to, but they would bring me down, practice with the team, stay in the hotel, get to know what it is, what a routine is. Who better to stay with than Todd? Todd was the captain. He was drafted to the Pittsburgh Penguins that year in the 3rd round. Actually, let me look that up. Where exactly did Todd go? I know that, I remember after he got drafted, they were pumped with him because he really improved, but it was high. It was definitely high drafted. Yeah, 91st overall to the Pittsburgh Penguins, as I thought. A real good player. 33 points the next year, 65. 60 his draft year, 69 games, 65 points. Okay. So I don't know how to put this. The reason they put me with him wasn't just on ice stuff, because he really did. When I mentioned that confidence stuff earlier, I was doing well in Quesnel. It was largely due to Todd. Just typical stuff from a leader, but I didn't really know what that was like back then. My captains in minor hockey were captains either because they had the most points or I don't know, they were the most popular. There really wasn't much more to it. But when I moved away, I had to learn how to be a leader. I remember in Quesnel, we had some great leaders. Ashley Fennell, I'm talking about you, my friend. Chris Spencer, I'm talking about you. Ryan Marsh, talking about you. Sheldon Surrey and I were 14, 15 years old. And they really, really, really took us under their wing. I can go on and on. I'm sorry I didn't mention some. Dave Standing is out there somewhere. A lot of really good people. And these people helped me develop into being, I don't want to say leader. Just first of all, I had to be a teammate. I didn't know shit about eating breakfast, or I knew about eating breakfast, pregame meals. I mean, how to handle that, postgame stuff. You might think we didn't do anything back then, but we did. More guys in the room like smoked, and there was beers in the room in junior and stuff. But we're talking about a northern BC town in the 90s, right? That people were like my hometown. They're rough around the edges, cut from a cloth of work hard and reap the benefits and do on to others, all that stuff. Like, good people that work hard and generally have good values. I had an awesome time. It helped me. An awesome time is such an understatement. It just helped me develop into being a good person. I could have gone to a team without those. Well, I know now there's lots of kinds of fucking assholes that are leaders on other teams, and they shape that team, and they might shape those kids that are going to grow into whatever when they grow up. I'm telling you right now that if those guys had bad attitudes and they were into fucking hard drugs, I probably would have been too. That's just one element. Or they were pricks, or they treated their coach, or if the players were in my ear, or if they were fucking, what's the word, elitists, if they had money and looked down on people. But it wasn't that. They just happened to be salt of the earth. You guys, if you follow me, you saw my post last month. I'm in Prince George. 3 of them, Kurt Lowe, Curtis Fenton, there you go, another couple great leaders. Chris Spencer drove up to see me. They're my buddies. They were on that team. When I fucking stepped off the plane and went to practice that first fucking day in exhibition, all 3 of those guys were there, and they befriended me, right? And by the end of camp, I wanted to play junior. I was so nervous, and I remember it. I remember the smell of the room. I remember breathing and seeing never being that cold. I remember the crunch of the snow and the ice and to open the door to the Quinnell Arena. I remember the carpet on the floor. I remember everything, like because it really stands out. Not that I don't remember most from other years, but not as much as that. My personality was being shaped. And then every second or third weekend, I'd fly down and I'd learn from Todd Classen. It was so nice to me. And he was a great player, and he used to stay out there. I would be like, so this guy's drafted by the Penguins, and he's clearly the best player on the ice when we practice. And he was out there longer than the rookies, man. And I remember being a rookie going, okay, like, you do want to get better. So like for a half hour, I would go out and really I need to work on my skating always. So after practice, people take like one-timers or whatever, and they sit out there and, it's not much like actual effort. Like I had to put effort in with my edges and stuff. I just had to do it. I just wasn't a good enough skater. I had to build up my legs and make them so strong that it would hide my inadequacies when it came to the first few kind of strides that McDavid got, those dynamic strides. I didn't have that at the beginning. So, in other words, I had to stay after practice and actually work. And, I wasn't putting on a show. I wasn't doing it so the coach would see me. I was trying to get better. And I would, because some guys stay out there for like 2 and 3 hours or whatever. You're like, come on, sit there and wait for the coach to pass by and then get up and do their drills. And they exist, and they're on most teams. Happy to say I wasn't one of those guys. When a couple times as a group, when we needed to be, though, we were, look over at Brad Brown, Aaron Asham. Okay, boys, let's just stay out here for 3 fucking hours, and they can't say anything. You lead a drill, Brownie, then Ash, you do it. I'll do it. Then Higgy, you do it. Jose, then you do it. And we would, certain times, like, I don't know if the team's in the playoffs and they're in like game 6, and they're battling in the second round or some shit. And we're like fucking going to the rink, doing our warm up, having a hot dog, and going to fucking Crescent Street to party. It's hard to marry those 2 worlds, without like just putting in extra. So we used to just, we did put on a show a couple times. But as a rule, I'm telling you. But Todd would be out there way after me. He would stay out and fuck. And I was like, is this guy, I can't get a read. Like, there's real prospects like this. Like, he's already one of the best players, and I get extra work. But I was like, fuck, man. Like, practice ended at 11 o'clock, and it's 1:30. Shit like that. And in Tri-Cities, we had a wicked, like, now it would be normal. But I know we were one of the first teams. Like, we had our own fucking weight room. We had a hot tub. We had a cold tub for a spell. Then we had a big lounge area with pool tables and big screen TVs. Like, we were fucking spoiled. And I was back a couple of years ago. I'm going back in October. Can't wait to see you guys, by the way, in Tri-Cities, Kennewick, Washington. It was like, it's still nice. It was state of the art then, and it was better than most. But anyway, we would hang out. And then, when I got to know Todd's vibe, I was like, no, this guy's fucking putting it in. And I remember him saying, I got the next few years to make the NHL. Right. And I remember going, yeah, he goes like, by the time we're like 25, 26, 27, he'd be like, the ship sailed then, either we will have made it or we wouldn't. And, I didn't really think about it. I was like, yeah, I guess. He goes, yeah, man. And like, it's real. He goes, think about a few years ago. And I did. And he goes, now think about a few years from now. You'll already have been drafted. You haven't played a game major junior yet, but that's how fast it's going to happen. And I'm like, holy shit. And then I almost like started overcompensating. I was like, man, I need to be out here like all day. Like, I can't get off before my wrists need to get strong, but my legs aren't strong enough. My wrists, like, that's the way, as some of you know, probably OCD or something. But That's the way I would think. And then he would like rein me in and go, okay, you know, oh yeah, you guys, you often see, you want me to play? I'll fight the biggest guy, you know, like that. And he's like, relax, sit there, relax, put in the time. What do you think you need to work on? I'd be like, my skating. He's like, okay, just go out there and do some manageable drills. Come in, do quick feet in the room. I never even thought of that. He's like, you can be strong, yes, but quick feet's going to help. I don't know if it did. I think it did, but I started to do quick feet, whatever it was. And that was awesome. And the next year, I loved it out west. Got it. I loved it out west so much that going into that year, being 16, now I played those 2 or 3 games with the Americans. Todd loved the first game I played. The first game I played, I fought this guy in Portland. He's fucking huge. You hockey fans that are old school know Cale Hulse. And Hulse was 19 and he was fucking huge. They had him and a guy, John Baduke, and both of these guys were real tough. Fucking Hulse looked like Frankenstein. Just look him up right now. A good-looking Frankenstein, but he had that scary demeanor. Like, picture him with the helmet, like his eyes look through you. Like Probert had that look. Well, fucking Cale Hulse had the same kind of look. And picture me, fucking 15, coming up, drafted at 14 there, but I never played till I was 15. And that's it. And I remember thinking about it before the game. Same sort of thing as the Domi sort of situation. And I remember the boys not realize. I was like, no, who's the toughest on the other team? And they were like, by far, Baduke and Hulse. But they're like, Adam Deadmarsh will go. Yeah, me, Deadmarsh ended up going the next season twice in one game. And holy fuck, were they good fights. He rocked me with a few, man, that guy. Career was over too soon. Look that guy up, Adam Deadmarsh. Anyway, Todd fucking loved it. I fought Hulse. I think I got an assist. Guess you could hockey DB that. Imagine not realizing if I got a major junior assist at 15 when I got called up. That's almost embarrassing. I remember the fight. What am I, some kind of fucking goon? Hold on. Yeah, I did. Fucking look at that. Playoffs. 1 game, 1 assist, 5 penalty minutes. And I did play a game in the regular season, so it wasn't my first shift. It was against Tacoma. Remember that? Fucking got labeled. What was his name? What the fuck was his name? Oh, God. You know what? Sorry, I got to look this up. My first game, this guy was fucking huge. Michael Sikora, 6'5", 230 fucking 3 in junior. Yeah. And he ended up playing in the show, man. He got 267 games. Yeah, man, he fucking rocked me. I remember coming out of my own end going, whoa, this is major junior. Anyway, so that did happen. I forgot. And then, of course, later that year, that's when my first game in the playoffs. Yeah, fought Hulse and then got an assist, I believe, on a Jeff Lynch goal. I remember in front of the net. Anyway, just wild. So the boys love that. They took me out. You're gonna think it's fucking crazy, but it was the 90s. They took me out for beers, man. We went over to Robbie Hartnell's place. I was actually staying with Robbie for that weekend with the Van Beeks, and Robbie's now passed away. God rest his soul. I played with Robbie in Tri-City. He went on to, and I ended up hooking up with him again in Boise, Idaho, the Steelheads, and then again, the Bentley Generals before he passed on, and a real good guy. Anyway, Robbie took me out after the fucking game. I remember Kimby Daniels was there. Kimby had check it out, man. He was unbelievable in junior, World Junior, lit it up. I don't even need to look. He got traded to Tri-Cities for the last, I don't know, 9 or 10 games of the year. He had 20-something points. See, this guy was a magician. Anyway, we all went out after, went back to Robbie's, got in the hot tub, had some beers. Just awesome. And I stayed out. I loved it so much that I stayed out. There was a hockey school in Penticton called the Penticton, the Okanagan, actually, hockey school. Larry Lund, maybe. Am I getting that name right? I don't know. But so I'd go out there, and it was a lot of pros and juniors that would train. That's why, you guys all know about, a lot of you do, about the fight. You check it out on YouTube that I fought Wade Belak. Well, when I said we knew each other, that's how we knew each other. I mean, we fought. That's just the way it was back then. But we knew each other because we were in Penticton, in the Penticton Okanagan fucking hockey school. And you know what? I miss Wade too. Wade and I, man, I didn't realize who he was. He was a killer. He's a year older than me. And yeah, we went and we fought. We were just playing shinny. And he pissed me off. He was throwing that fucking swagger around. And I hadn't played in the Western League. Well, I played those 2 games. Stayed out there, practiced with the pros. That's where I met Darren McCarty. I had him on my pod a few months ago. That's where I met him, right? Now these worlds are coming together for you guys that listen to all the episodes. So yeah, I went out and I stayed for like a week with Darren in a little shack, and then he went on. I stayed there for the whole summer. It was great. Got paid. Just had to go on, coach kids for 4 hours, then do like dry land with the kids for 2 hours, then do your own training, right? They let you all go. So then we'd have our own like workouts, and then we'd have a scrimmage. And these scrimmages were just to keep in shape. But Belak was like, I don't even think we were hitting each other much. Like there was rubbing out because we were all playing, but that's it. Me and fucking Beller got in a wow, what a fight. And I was pissed off, I remember, because I'm like, what a donkey. Like, and he was big and tall and kind of gangly. He would end up going 8 months from that moment or less than a year from that moment, he would go in the first round. But I didn't know that. I didn't know he played in Saskatoon already. I knew none of that. He looked like a fucking geek to me. And I was like, fuck you, man. And we fucking fought. And I was pissed that he got the better of me. And now I realize it was Wade Belak a few years later, right? I'm like, holy shit, I did unreal. But anyway, and he wasn't a fucking geek. He was a great dude. He was just getting on like that, I guess, and testing me. And we ended up being good friends after that. I don't know about good, but we were friends for certain. Like if we came across each other, I played with his brother, Graham, in pro, and then I remember he came to Newfoundland. Like the Leafs had their camp there, and he looked me up. We went out for a bite and then a beer. You know, we were friends. But anyway, so I was at that school. Take a long time to tell a story, don't I? But these are things. These are stories within stories. And if you're still listening, you want to know. So I might as well get to the answer at the end here. Then you'll find out what the question is. You have no idea so far what question I'm answering. But at least 24 of you have asked me this. So I'm on the ice practicing in the afternoon. It was coming up on, it must have been late July, early August, because in Tri-Cities, they have a thing called the boat races. And it's not just the boat races. It's like, towns, cities have festivals. It's during that. Okay, so I didn't know this till right now. It's called Tri-City Water Follies. Thought I was misreading it, but it's Tri-City Water Follies. What it is, a festival. Yes, festival in Kennewick, Washington. So, and yes, it happens in late July. So it must have been late July. And, and at that time, I didn't have to go to camp early, but I wanted to go down, and spend August there and skate with the guys before camp. If I'm allowed to do that, why not? Like I like getting to the rink early. When I played, I loved my time in the summer, but I like, and I know myself, and I'm always better to be on site. I was same in Montreal. People might not realize that, but the other guys in Marinasham, oh fuck, most of us that had any sense at all, because I didn't need extra time on George Street. I would train when I was home, but I would rather, that's kind of why I even went to Penticton. I knew it would force me to work, make some money. Again, my parents completely middle class, and they'd just come out west with me and lost a lot of money. Our house got fucking ransacked, and there was a loophole in insurance, man. My mom and dad lost a lot of money. So I was working and improving my skills at the same time and learning from other hockey players. And the plan was to go, ended up being just go down to Tri-City in early August, skate with the guys at the rink, get to know people. And, I'm probably going to myself and, BJ Young, that story. Me and BJ were the two 16-year-olds that were probably penciled in before camp started. And we had that option. I just met BJ, and I remember talking to him about that. So we were going to meet up. Well, we did meet up in August in Tri-Cities. But here's the thing. In this particular day, I was running a camp with Steve O'Rourke. Steve O'Rourke, his brother Dan now is an NHL referee, reffed in the finals still. And Dan's son, actually, full circle, reffed the Growlers game that I played, if you can believe it. But Stevie, I called him Steve-O. Steve-O was one of the guys that I'd met with Tri-Cities, and that goal I just told you about that I assisted on with Jeff Lynch. Steve played with me on my line. So I knew him a little bit. And we were getting to know each other a lot in the summer, coaching these kids, like I said, working out, getting ready for a year in Tri-Cities. Steve, I think, was turning 20, and I was 15. So we as far as junior players, I was about to embark on my major junior journey. He was about to finish his, but we did get along. We got along, man. There was common ground there, and I remember being relieved by that because we spent a lot of time together that summer. He was just a nice person. So Steve and I believe we were planning at the end of the week to go to Tri-Cities. I believe he was just going down to watch the boat races. I was going to stay there. I did end up staying there. But here's the thing. Here's what ends up happening. I'll never forget this. We were telling stories in the morning. I remember even putting on my skates that day, and we were talking about the boat races because he was like, do you want to go down? Some of the guys are going. And there was a bunch of them that were going to go down watch the races. Some of them were staying. And by the way, a lot of these guys are from Edmonton. So some of them would just go back and forth. Like I have to fly out from Newfoundland and make my residence wherever it's going to be out west. But I have to do more planning. Some of these guys, and some guys are from like Vancouver and shit, 4 or 5 hours north. I think Edmonton was a 12 or 13-hour drive. Not really, flight, just a couple. Like really, if you wanted to stay in touch with Tri-Cities, you could. So I believe some of the guys were going down and just for the boat races, others were going to stay. I was really looking forward to it. Like you couldn't imagine. It marked the start of my major junior journey with all of the guys going down are guys I already met, and I couldn't wait to see Todd. And Steve and I were talking about it. Might seem crazy the way the story went, but I remember that morning really talking about Todd and going, yeah, man, I can't wait. Let's go down and, we'll meet all the guys. Is Todd going to be there? Because he's been real nice to me. And I think I had what's the word? Not a man crush, but it was an affinity. It was a big brother, like a real affinity for this guy. And, my buddy Ryan Marsh was about to go down that I played with in Cornell and start his second year. Some other guys that I'd met at camp, the Hurley brothers. I was real excited. I'm down in the corner. I get the pucks. I scatter them over the ice. We're coaching kids that are 10 to 12, and they're all skating around, doing their warm-ups in the morning. And blue line to blue line stuff, do your stretches, whatever you're going to do. Slow it down. Turn around, backwards on the whistle, stuff like that. These kids are getting warmed up. There was no texting. The internet was just kind of starting, so it's not like we were plugged in all the time. But we did have cell phones for some that was just starting. I didn't have one, but the technology was there, and someone, had to rush off the ice. They were on their cell. I remember. Now this thing was like huge. It was almost too big to even carry around, but there was cell phones. I don't know who it was. It was one of the other instructors that, this look of shock on his face. Stopped practice. Steve came over to me and just said, there's been some real, I got bad news for you. There's been an accident. And I always get myself into these. Anyway, Todd was killed. Our friend, another guy that was great to me, Adam Retschlag, was driving the car. Not that it was Adam's fault, whatever it was. I don't want to relive the incident. They were like carpooling down, so there was other players on the Americans that were there to experience it. And Todd, yeah, it was. I don't want to explain it. Like if I do it, yeah, it's just know that happened. So imagine a bunch of junior players going to play. I was just I don't know. I don't know what words can describe it. And then nothing was normal. Nothing in camp was normal. Nothing was normal. It was hard to deal with, man. It was really, really hard to deal with. And as you can imagine, I can't imagine what it was like for his girlfriend, his parents, the guys that had played with him. I only knew him a little bit. For longer, his brothers, his sisters, his family. I don't know. I don't know. But I know that we played Seattle opening night, and it was jammed, and we raised his jersey. We retired his jersey and raised it to the rafters. And when we did, they played clips of him. So the local news had like audio clips of Todd like getting the guys going before the game. And it was like, we're standing there waiting for the national anthem, a tribute to Todd, seeing his jersey being raised up into the rafters. And you can hear him on the loudspeakers going, come on, boys. Come on, boys. Let's get it done here. Whatever it is, the hockey sayings. Came all this way, might as well win a game. It was like fucking 5 minutes of him doing that. Empty the tanks, boys. Here we go, TR. Here we go, Reds. It was just like, I didn't even know where the audio came from. They played a little bit before the game in the room, and then, like literally on the loudspeaker, as his jersey was being raised, it was audio of Todd, and it was fitting. It was just fucking hard. And the other team, like Seattle, didn't know what to do either. It was beyond. It transcended hockey. And anyway, there was a player on the team, Dean Tilchin, until he started the Todd Classen Memorial Foundation. That was every time Tilly scored, fans from the community would donate money. So say I'll donate 10, you donate $5. Some people donate 1,000. But it turned into every goal Tilly scored, there was money being raised for someone in the high school who best exemplified Todd's characteristics. The Todd Classen Memorial Scholarship Fund still goes on. Okay. Dean got traded. There's a lot more to it, but I'm going on this long. Let's just say Dean got traded. I was his friend that he knew from Edmonton area. I think Dean's from Ponoka. They knew each other before. They were good friends. I took it over. So I was 16 years old. The first year I took it over. So I had my first year, I had 16 goals. So I took this over when Dean got traded, which was the beginning of the next season. So I guess a lot of local investors, and Tri-City hockey was still pretty new in Kennewick. We were only, I think, the 4th or 5th year of existence of the team. Before us, there was no hockey in the area. So hockey in general was new. So all these people looked at my 16, and then they said, okay, 16. Some local businesses, I remember, donated like $500, $600 a goal. The odd one, 1,000, right? Oh, what, $16,000? Well, that year I ended up getting 50. I scored my 50th goal with 28 seconds left in the season. And I remember going into my last fucking period. I had 48 goals going into the last period. Bob Laux let me out there pretty much the whole period. And he said, boys, are you okay with this? He put me and Sugar Ray Schultz out. Sugar didn't have a goal all year, and he scored one. Put him up front. He scored one. And then I got 2 in the last 5 minutes, man. The fucking roof nearly blew off the place. I remember just closing my eyes before going, fuck, Todd, this would be great. Like I said, I'm not religious, but I don't know, spiritual, I suppose. And anyway, I got my 50th. It nearly broke some businesses in town. I raised so much fucking money with those 50 goals. And Todd was number 14. And he, we had it on our jerseys. If you get a jersey in 93, 94 from Tri-City, you'll see a patch with C14 on it. It was for captain. And that, I'm sorry, just, it's a long time, but it's fresh in my mind. Todd would be like 50 something now, man. 50, I guess. I just always felt I should tell that story, and all these people ask me why I wear number 14. So listen, I grew up, I was number 20, obviously, the whole time. And if in my pro, if someone took 14, I would take number 20. I'd go back. But if I ever could, and that's why you see it on Montreal, you see me wear it in World Championships in ball hockey. And of course, that's why Ted Hitchcock doesn't wear number 10. He wears number 14 because I wanted to honor my buddy Todd Classen. I've touched on that before. I've never really told the full story. That's it. There you go. Fucking better part of a fucking hour, was it? Anyway, went on a bit long, but that's it. Todd deserves every goddamn word and every bit of respect because he was good to me. And you take a little bit from all these people, and I learned a lot from Todd Classen. And my personality, albeit a small part of it, but, is formed from these people that you meet. And like I started this segment with, it's just a fucking lucky thing that I met these good people that rubbed off on me. Anyway, sorry about that. Jesus Christ. Like Shoresy during the anthem. I put it off so long because I knew that would happen, but I'm glad I did it. Anyway, thanks for listening. That is why this cat wears number 14. Of course, folks, if you're downtown, love you, Todd. If you're downtown St. John's, Newfoundland, and Labrador, why not pop in for a drink, a coffee, sandwich, whatever you're going to do. Stop into George Street. Check out Greensleeves. Check out the Bull and Barrel. Turkey Joe's, or TJ's now. Rob Roy Confusion, the Martini Bar, why not? Loose Tie, Blue on Water, and of course, Wedgwood Cafe. Those last three, Loose Tie, Blue on Water, and Wedgwood Cafe, are restaurants, of course. But you can order booze, but there's some great food at those spots. If you're in St. John's, Newfoundland, and Labrador, you want to go to Mr. Lube, there's two locations. One's on Torbay Road, one's on Kemmer Road. Live, laugh, lube. See Chris Sparks. Of course, folks, you want to change your life. You want to have a positive outlook, strength and balance for the body and the mind. Go to Ryan Power Conditioning on Walk Lane. Pitbull Pain Relief. The pain sticks that just don't quit. Go to pitbullpainrelief.com. See what all the fuss is about. True hockey. Take what's yours. And of course, I love my Mugsy jeans. That'll do it for this episode. I'm going to have a great guest this week. I promise I really will. Thanks for bearing with me there with no guest today. But I hope you liked the story about my good friend, Todd Classen. Please look him up. He's gone, but we still have the memory. He was a good cat. And we'll all be gone at some point. So do him the honor, whether it's Hockey GB or YouTube or whatever. Look it up. Todd Classen, good guy, good friend, good leader, great fucking teammate. Thanks, Todd. And thanks to all you folks. Be back just a few days. More Tales with TR. Catch you on the rebound.